Hello and welcome to today's Battletech presentation. Today we're going to be looking at another one of Clan Jade Falcon's second generation Battletech, at least second generation as far as the invasion goes. It would be probably third generation Omnimech at this point, with the first generation being your summoners and your second generation being the things that started out around the early 31st centuries, like let's say the Executioner from Clan Ghost Bear. The Black Lanner is not one of the best known mech, I would say, in that particular time frame in the group, and it hasn't had a major impact on anything here. It's not like the Timberwolf or the Nova that everybody wanted to copy, but it's good enough at what it does that it's been a reliable machine ever since. So let's get into it. The origin of the Black Lanner comes with the placement trials that happened right before Operation Revival, what we often call the clan invasion, as a response to what was going on during these fights. I say the Black Lanner is the wrong mech at the wrong time because of that, in a way. The machine didn't reach the front line in the Inner Sphere until 3052, with the first recorded fight really being on Tukayyid. Pretty sure we've seen it before that, but in very limited fashion. You'd have to look at a whole lot of Battle ROM, including Battle ROM of people raiding Clan Jade Falcon space at the time. The problem with the Black Lanner, in a way, it really built for clan warfare. It's fast, it's meant to get in and out, deal a lot of damage. If it doesn't survive, well, that's not that much of an issue. It's not meant for extended deployments. It's not meant for the logistical nightmare, which is fighting in the Inner Sphere for the clans, where the supply lines are extended beyond relief. And you have all sorts of issues coming from that. I'm not saying it's really a bad mech, but it's definitely not a mech that is suited for fighting in the Inner Sphere for what the clans wanted to do. It was meant to be built and used when fighting other clans, basically. The Black Lanner did become a common sight amongst Clan Jade Falcon, Clan Isolian, who loved it because it's fast, and Clan Steel Viper. Those were the people who bought the majority of them. The standard position for the Black Lanner in military units was as a scout commander, even though it wasn't built as such originally. That's what it ended up being used as, leading a group of faster, lighter mechs, and to be used as an anchor in those stars and in harassment stars, using its superior firepower to support lighter machines. Outside of these formations, the Black Lanner can be used in fast heavy formations, which are still fairly common amongst clans, or as a cavalry unit, as a flanker, so it was valuable in a great number of roles, which made it a decent mech to use in a variety of situations. So what is a Black Lanner? Well, it's a 55-ton Omnimech in the medium range, obviously, but in a way it doesn't feel like it because it does have a top speed of about 120 kilometers per hour using a 385 XL engine weighing 22 tons. On top of that, you also add a mask, so the musculature is accelerated when necessary, giving you bursts of speed of up to 150 kilometers per hour. It is awfully fast and falls in the same kind of trap you see a lot of 40-ton mechs actually get into, which is spending most of your weight allowance into speed and mobility. It's a bit surprising that the Jade Falcon didn't put jump jets on it, because jump jets are pretty popular amongst engineers, but that's what they decided to go with, kind of like what they did with their Fire Falcons. Having a massive engine, even though it's an XL, you need to still save a whole lot of weight, so the chassis is made out of endo steel, and the armor is made out of ferrofibrous, and you get 8 tons of it, which is not a whole lot on a 55-ton mech, but it's not terrible. You can see that it's more modern in terms of a Omnimech, because it uses both of those technologies. Things like the Summoner or the Nova will not have endosteel chassis as an example. But if you look at other Omnimechs in the same range, the Nova and the Stormcrow, you're better protected. You're not as fast, but you're better protected. You get 10 double heat sinks built into the engine, not taking advantage of the fact that the power plant is really big, so you could stick more of them inside of it. But then again, you need to start saving weight in order to put weapons on, and you only have 13 tons of pod space for that, which leaves you a decent amount of room, but not quite as much as you would want on a 55-ton mech. So let's start looking at the basic configurations that are available for the machine. Basically, those are the pods that you can easily get just about anywhere, or have an engineer put them on fairly straightforward because they're already set up. And if we go with the Black Lanner Prime, it basically takes a cue from the Wolverine 6M, even though the Clanners might not have known about the 6M that much. And it combines lasers and missiles into a machine that is efficient at using both. Since the weapons are clan graded, you get more bang for your buck, so it is worth it. The right arm is a big cannon mount with an ER large laser, while the opposite arm has a pair of ER medium lasers. So you get a very good long to mid-range punch. You're going to outrange and outfight most inner sphere mechs with the same kind of weapons at that point. To supplement this, you get a 10-rack LRM in one of the shoulder and a 6-rack SRM in the other shoulder. So you can shoot at long range and bust up tanks using those SRMs if required, or crit seek once another mech's armor is punched in. For additional protection, you do get an ECM suite that's mounted in the head. It could easily be swapped for an active probe if you're going to be running this configuration as a scout commander, as an example. We're going to go through the configurations a little bit all over the place here, just because I tried to get them together in various categories in a way. The first ones being the ones that I would actually pilot. And there's 3 of them that are actually pretty decent missile support unit. Configuration B has a pair of 20-rack LRMs, and they're the good clan ones, so you can use them at closer range if problems do get in front of you. And you're backed by 3 tons of ammo. It's a little bit less than my Archer, but it's decent enough for what it's supposed to do, which is get into position, bombard the enemy, and fade away. You're not going to be able to do a whole lot else outside of that, and once you're out of ammo, well, you have to basically retreat or do the unclan-like thing and start kicking people. Configuration E has a single ATM-12 with 1 ton of each of the specialty ammo, so you get 3 tons of missiles, 1 for extreme range, 1 for decent range, and 1 for short range. Of course, you can vary this. You can just put 3 tons of the short range ones if you want to get into brawling, but in the end, you're also backed by 3 ER medium lasers, so this one's a little bit more useful in the long run, just because you're going to be able to get into people's face once you're out of ammo. Configuration G still mounts 20 racks of LRMs, but it's in a 4x5 configuration, 1 launcher in each torso and a pair in the left arm. This is backed up by an ER large pulse laser, registered trademark Clan Wolf, which is a little bit weird on a Jade Falcon machine, but it's an half-decent machine, and with 4 LRM-5 launchers and 2 tons of ammo, you can carry a ton of regular ammo and a ton of specialty ammo to do things like spread some smoke around or something of the like. Configuration A, on the other hand, is an actual scout commander with an active probe, an ECM, and a tag to spot for artillery and guided missiles. To back this up, you get an ERPPC, which is a great sniping weapon, and a pair of medium pulse lasers, which are highly accurate. If you're leading a group of ice ferrets, dragonflies, arctic cheetahs, fire moths, various light mechs, you're going to be the anchor of that particular scout lance, and you're going to have enough firepower to back this up when necessary. The full-on Raider configuration is closer to the C configuration, which has 6 ER medium lasers, so you're half of a Nova, and a Streak 6 tube SRM to take care of pesky armor and things that could have low armor and get penetrated by smaller missiles. You're allowed to get 3 extra double heat sinks on there because a 6 ER medium laser does generate a massive amount of heat, but it's going to be very decent in that particular rating role. And even if you shoot all those 6 ER medium lasers and you do generate a decent amount of heat, you can still fade away because you're fast enough in that Black Lanner to go cool down somewhere and then come back for more. If you want to take care of unarmored units and infantry, configuration D is what you would want to get. You get a flamer and 4 machine guns, so if any infantry shows up, you're going to make them regret it. And you get a pair of 6-tube SRMs that you can easily load with Inferno rounds if you want to set things on fire. You still get as well 2 medium pulse lasers and 2 ER small lasers, which can be used against more armored targets. And you get an active probe to find the infantry you want to burn to a crisp. Most clan mechs, if you start looking at it, will have that infantry killer configuration nowadays, mostly because when the combat with the Inner Sphere started, they realized that people in the Inner Sphere loved using unarmored infantry quite a bit. Configuration H is your heavy laser configuration, as usual. And this one copies the prime configuration a little bit with an heavy large laser in that gun mount and a pair of medium pulse lasers. You get 4 extra double heat sinks because an heavy large laser just generates so much heat. And the ECM is still mounted in the nose of the machine, or you could replace it with an active probe. I don't think it's a terrible H configuration. The heavy large lasers are really devastating. Of course, you're going to have a lot of people replace this with an improved heavy large laser. It really depends on what you're able to buy and what you're able to locate as far as technology goes. As with many of the spheroid clan mechs, the Black Lanner production was discontinued in the clan homeworlds as Clan Jade Falcon was booted out of their holdings during the whole War of Reaving thing that they had over there. Production in the Inner Sphere was transferred to Olivetti Weapons on Sudeten, and it was heavily damaged during the Jihad, but it started recovering afterwards, partially thanks to the sale of Black Lanners, and the production kept ramping up to meet demands. There is a Black Lanner Extreme, the X configuration. Some people say it's experimental, but I keep saying that it's extreme here. And it uses a rotary AC2 fed by 2 tons of Case 2 protected ammo in the gun mount. Rotary AC2s are a little bit better than standard or ultra AC2s, but you still don't get a whole lot of punch with it. But you're going to be able to put a decent amount of lead in the air at that point. This is also supported by a pair of Case 2 protected improved heavy medium lasers, because those have a tendency to blow up when they're hit. Someone would want to figure out how to fix that, either to make it that they're accurate enough like the regular heavy lasers or not blowing up like the improved ones, but it's not a huge issue, at least not on this mech. I don't think it's a terrible setup. I'm not a huge fan of that rotary AC2, like I said, but as a test bed for various technologies, it's a good setup. And now we have the 2 more recent models from Olivetti that we see here. The first one is Configuration J, which uses a Protomech AC8. Light AC8 is what it should be called when it's mounted on a battle mech, I guess, with 2 tons of ammo, so you get the ability to mount some specialty rounds on there. Protomech ACs are quite good in that particular category, and I like them more than some of the Inner Sphere light autocannons, but they're still not quite as efficient as energy weapons, at least not in my opinion. This is backed by 3 ER medium lasers, and because someone decided that the Black Lanner wasn't fast enough, and Founder has it with safety, you stick a supercharger on there so you can go up to 180 kilometers per hour in a straight line. Sure, you can blow up both your leg actuators and your engine if you're starting to do that for long periods of times. But once again, what's safety next to going really, really fast? Configuration T is also a lot of fun. You get a plasma cannon with 2 tons of ammo in the right arm and a pair of improved heavy medium lasers in the other. And you go back to something a little bit like the original configuration with an SRM-6 and an LRM-10 in the shoulders. Both of these, I think, are quite decent at what they do, and you can have some fun with it. I would have to have someone bring me the pods, a Black Lanner, and, test them out on various training courses just to see if it is worth it to go that fast or if the plasma cannon behaves like it's supposed to, basically. There are a few weird and completely crazy configuration of the Black Lanner as well. Configuration I combines some inner sphere technology with clan technology with a medium variable speed pulse laser, 2 ER medium lasers, and 3 heavy machine gun, all linked together on a targeting computer. You're going to be pretty darn accurate with that VSP and decently accurate with everything else. And you add a Streak 4-tube SRM on there in order to be able to take out tanks. What you don't have is really some long-range weaponry on there, but you're fast enough to be able to get into range and shoot everything. I'm not 100% sure about this one, to be honest. Another weird one is Configuration F, which mounts 5 medium pulse lasers, 2 arrays of 3 light machine guns, and a light active probe to figure out where the infantry is to nuke it with those machine guns. It's not terrible, and I guess it's a pretty decent raider, but some of the other configurations I think are more efficient. In the end, the Black Lanner really suffers from one major weakness. The Stormcrow exists. The Stormcrow is about as optimal as you can get for an Omnimech in the medium range. It's common, it's easy to work on, nobody hates it, and in the end, I believe the Stormcrow is the best investment you can get if you're able to get a medium Omnimech. Speed is also no replacement for actual armor. You'll have all those Mechwarriors going on about speed is life all the time, but I've seen more than one fight which ended with the really fast dude splattered on the ground because his AC-20 just decided to collide with one of their side torso, or a really fast mech trying to speed around an heavier one, which decides to just, kick it in the shin, and the light mech just goes flying. I'm honestly not telling anybody that they shouldn't buy the Black Lanner. It has its use. It's very decent, and if you want something fast to lead various scouts or raiders, it's going to do very decent work. But you have to remember one thing. The Stormcrow exists, and that should control your urges to buy a Lanner. So I hope you guys have a very nice rest of your day. I thank you very much for listening to me for so long, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.